My father was a sound engineer, and copper was one of the metals he had to hand to work with, and I would work with him in the workshop with little bits of scrap copper. So I guess in my childlike eyes, it was almost like gold to me. Even now, I still love copper, and for me it is kind of poor man's gold. It's the first metal that we really worked with, beginning of the Bronze Age. And it was copper that really helped take man out of the cave, in a sense. And coppersmithing was an essential trade. And then, of course, skip forward into the early 20th century, we're getting into plastics and aluminiums and stainless steel. And within a generation, the craft of the coppersmith more or less disappears. And I think, to be honest, the broader sense is what you need to bring to the metalwork. You're not just beating the living daylights out of the metal and telling it what to do. You're listening to the metal too. You're listening to the sounds of the metal as you're working in. You'll know from listening to it whether you're doing it right or not. Oh, you're stiff. I don't know if you can hear in there a kind of tinny crash sound, but then you're also getting a nice dull thud sound. It's the dull thud you're after. And again, this is where sound is really important. Steve will know, he'll hear it rather than see it, whether he's planishing properly, is he'll get a hollow sound. Give us that, Steve. Yeah. As opposed to this, where you're getting metal on metal or tool on tool and no air in between. You're constantly kind of drawing on an ambient memory of the lads who worked in here before me. And imagine what it was like working here. There was no electricity, so they're working by gas lights or oil lights and so on. And I got a feeling sound would have been important to them too. You know, even more emphasis on using what you've got to hand, or in this case, what you've got to ear, because you'd have been mad not to. And those processes of moving and shaping and forming copper, they haven't changed. And it's incredible what you can do with it. There's no end of things you can do with it. I mean, 30, 40 years working in the metal, I'm still discovering, I'm still learning, I'm still hungry to learn.